All right, so the next knife is my Delta Whiskey Infinity, right? This is a knife that is made by LT Wright Custom Knives of Ohio. Okay, LT Wright is a very popular maker of a lot of different bushcraft style knives. Okay, here's the sheath system I built for it. This one's mine, right? The first run was 01 tool steel. Okay, so this one's 01 tool steel, 90-degree spine, reverse tanto tip that's really strong. And you know, I designed this knife to be a really strong knife no matter how you use it. So if you need to dig with it, or you know, pry something up with it, or whatever, you know, a tree root or whatever, then it's going to be able to do it within reason. I mean, you're not going to be prying, you know, steel doors open with this thing, you know, but it's a pretty strong knife. That's why I put that that reverse tanto tip on there. These are really strong tips. Scandi grind, choke up choil, thumb ramp for, you know, smaller tasks. I find that if you put your forefinger in the choke up choil and you put your thumb on the spine, and the spine right here is sort of rounded, right? It's not as sharp as the rest of the blade that you can strike a ferro rod off of. This is kind of rounded, so it's more comfortable in your hand. So you get a lot of control this way. There's also a thumb ramp for the handle, okay? This way, right? This thing will even chop. It's got enough heft to it that you can do some light chopping. If you're building a bow drill set and you need to take wood off of that thing, I do it all the time, and I use this knife to do it. Pommel on the back, nice brass lanyard hole, fisheye, pin and tube hardware, bow drill divot on the handle, right? Now we're going to be doing another run of these in CPM 3V, which a lot of guys are asking about. I tell you, it's been almost a year now that I've been promising this next run in CPM 3V, and I have a pre-order list going right now. There's probably about 30 names on it. If you want to be on that list, just let me know. Eventually I'm going to ask for a deposit. The CPM 3V version of this is probably going to be, give or take, about 300 bucks for the knife. Okay? LT Wright told me in no uncertain terms that this is the most difficult knife, you know, with the most features that he's ever produced. So there it is, Delta Whiskey Infinity. I tell you, this is one of my favorite field knives, right? It's a workhorse. There's the sheath system. You know, I got a Phoenix E12 on there, you know, tactical light. Base mount ferro rod, standard compass. I don't have a sharpener on this one. I do, this one does have a, you can probably see it, just see it right here. This is a slide lock that increases the tension of the draw, okay? When it's engaged all the way, it's very hard to get out, okay? But it's not impossible. Okay, I don't believe in locking a knife into a sheath so that it just will not come out in that position. I don't believe in that. If you need your knife and you need it quick and you don't have time to fool around with that locking system, you know, sliding it up or in, you need it quick, a good yank will get this thing out of there. Okay. On the back, you know, this is a dots lock, combat lock belt clip. I got a small sharpener here, sharpener plate, right, diamond plate with a striker for the ferro rod if I need it. Okay, it also has a temperature thermometer on it, that I found these to work pretty well. All right, I haven't had much problem with them at all. No problems. Matter of fact, I sent a couple of these out to different guys in different countries. One of the guys is in Norway. He said it works great. He hasn't any problem with it either in the cold or the heat. So they work pretty good, these thermometers that I'm using. Okay, so there it is, Delta Whiskey Infinity. You guys just got to be patient with me on this next run. Okay, and the deal is, I have to put all that money up front. You know, say I have 50 of these things made. That's a lot of money to shell out all at one time. And I got to pay it all at once. So, and then, you know, he makes the knives and he sends them all to me. And then each client and I work on their sheath system together. And then I start building them all, right? I just work them into the program. So it's going to be a while before you actually get your knife and sheath system. But it's going to be worth it in the long run. I've done this before and it works out well. Okay, so there's that one. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, Delta Whiskey Farnhawk. All right, the Delta Whiskey Farnhawk. This is an 80 CRV2 knife. This one happens to have walnut burl scales. This one's, you know, mine, the one he built for me. Built by Sam Farnworth at Firekeeper Forge. All right. It's got a convex grind. You can see the dimple marks, you know, the hammer marks on it. This is a hand forged knife that is geared more toward a lightweight field utility knife, right? Lightweight field utility knife. Got a swedge up here. He will eliminate this swedge if you ask him to. Okay, if you eliminate the swedge, it does strike a ferro rod better than putting the swedge on it. Although this will strike a ferro rod fairly well. But if you want a really good 90-degree spine, nice and flat, I suggest you tell him, don't put the swedge in there. Okay, so that's Sam Farnworth at Firekeeper Forge. He builds the knife, he sends it to me, and then you and I work on a sheath together. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to work. All right, so that's a collaboration between him and I. My particular sheath system has a LD02 Phoenix on the front that I can use in either cross draw, or this also has a Raptor dangler assembly that I use for it. And you can use these Raptor dangler assemblies for any, and you know, I can turn it into a dangler too, just by putting this in the tech lock. There, see? Works real well. Or I can wear it as a belt carry, or I can cant this so it gets the handle up in the air a little bit. Got a flip out ferro rod on the back, shore up plate on the front, gives it a little more stability for flipping that thing out, right? And then striking it. Always go clockwise, guys, clockwise, and that'll keep that screw nice and tight for you. I don't Loctite them, all right, but you got to keep going clockwise. If you go counterclockwise even a half an inch, it's going to loosen this screw up. You're going to have to retighten it. All right. So there's that. This is black brick KYDEX with this is actually Cryptek Micro Red. Cryptek Micro Red. Okay. Just a small piece of it. The Raptor dangler assembly has it too, right? With a leather belt loop. I also have scuba webbing, this stuff. All right, scuba webbing. That's no muss, no fuss. It's weatherproof. It doesn't wear out or stretch like leather does. It's a real man's belt loop material. All right. So there's that. That's the Delta Whiskey Farnhawk. It's made by Sam Farnworth, Firekeeper Forge. All right. Okay, let's move on to another knife. This one is just, I call it the Tony Shiflett Bushcrafter. Okay, it's made by Tony Shiflett at Tribal Steel. Tribal Steel Custom Knives. All right. He is a very good knife maker. Okay, this is one of the finest bushcrafters that I have in my collection. It's a really fine, handsome looking knife. You know, hardwood handles, red liners. I believe the steel is 80 CRV2. Again, I like that steel. Sharp 90-degree spine, strikes a ferro rod with no problem at all. Stainless steel pins, stainless steel lanyard hole, really made well. It's got a Scandivex grind, so it's basically a flat grind that goes into a Scandivex. Okay, feather sticks really well. It's a nice stout 3/16 inch thick knife. Alright, he did a very good job on this. I'm very impressed with this knife, so it is one of my favorites in the field. Black brick. This is a very popular pattern. I have two different black brick patterns. I don't have the other one here, but this is the first one that I started building sheaths from. This stuff is really thick. That's why I like why I like to use it. It's really thick KYDEX. Face mount ferro rod. I got a Sunto compass on this, and I have a thermometer. Right, these thermometers work pretty good. I haven't had any problems with them. The guys who tested them say they work just fine. They are a little slow going from cold to hot or hot to cold quickly. Okay, because they're oil filled. Okay, so it takes a little bit of time for it to adjust to the temperature, but once it's there, it's pretty accurate. Okay, here's the back. Now this is set up to accept a Raptor dangler. Okay, this is how it works. You open it up, put the dangler assembly in there, right? Snap it shut and you're good to go. Alright, then you got an instant dangler. If you're going to wear it in cross draw, right hand cross draw, say it's on your left hip like this, right hand cross draw, I suggest you take the combat lock clip off and you cant it this way. You will be able to do it. Okay, the holes are there, right? Put it so that it sits canted, right? And that'll get that handle up in the air a little bit, make it easier to draw, and keep that handle from drooping on your belt. That is an irritation to me. When I'm wearing a knife in cross draw and it's doing this, it's drooping, right? That drives me nuts. So take that belt clip, put it at an angle, and it'll lift it up a little bit for you, make it easier to draw. Okay, that's one of my pet peeves. So that's it. The Tony Shiflett Bushcrafter. Okay, he makes all kinds of different knives. Just look him up on Facebook, tribalsteel.com. Okay, or the internet, tribalsteel.com. He's on Facebook too. Tribal Steel Knives. All right. Good job. Good job, Tony. He's a fairly new knife maker, but he's pretty good at what he's doing. And remember, the fairly new knife makers who haven't been doing this a long time, but they're pretty good at what they're doing, they're usually cheaper than the veterans, okay? Just throwing that out there, okay? What else we got? I'll go with this one right here. Now this is kind of a special knife to me. It was a gift from Peter Kohler when he first started out. I'm pretty sure I was the first person that he collaborated with, right? As far as sheaths and knives together and whatnot. And when he contacted me, he wanted to put my sheaths on his knives, and I said, okay, cool. I said, make me a knife so I know what you're about, right? I want to know how well you build knives, and if they're worth me getting into this, So, and this is what he sent me, okay? We call it the Timberhawk Bushcrafter. He don't make these anymore, okay? 01 tool steel, curly birch scales. It's just a beautiful old style bushcrafter, right? Convex edge, hammer dimples, just a hand forged knife, okay? He did a great job on it. I have 4 of his knives, okay? And then here's the sheath for it. I don't use this knife that often. Got a high gloss finish on it. And it's just, I don't use it because I have so many other knives that I would use first. You know what I mean? And I like to keep this one in good shape because you don't make these anymore. And this is, I believe this is the first knife that he made back then. And then he made 5 or 6 knives that we sold together with sheaths on them that sold really quick, and then things just progressed from there and everything got real good for him. So there it is, really nice. He did a great job on it. Like I said, I have 3 other knives that he made for me. Very nice, very nice. So I didn't use it that often, but it is one of my favorites. All right. Now this knife here, this does not belong to me. This belongs to a client. I want to show it because I really like this knife. Okay. Now I don't own the fixed blade version, right? But I do own a version in a folder. Okay. This is the Applegate Fairbarn dagger. Okay. This one's made by Boker. It's a really slick fighting knife, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. A lot of guys buy this knife because it looks cool, but they never really use it for its intended purpose, right? Which is fighting, self-defense, right? Combat, all right? Just want to show it. I want to show the sheath system I built for it. Now this is a pancake style sheath, which works best for this knife because of the double hand guard. All right, see the double hand guard? That's the quintessential fighter dagger, stiletto style, covert spook spec ops. All right, so there's the sheath system. Now the client wanted a ferro rod and a Sunto compass on this one, right? That he can just remove if he wants to. You can slim down any sheath system that I make. You can slim them down. You take things off, add things, whatever you want. Okay. Now on the back, we have a Raptor dangler assembly. Okay, that is inside the combat lock belt clip. I could take it out, right? Now if you notice, there's a mount plate here. See the mount plate? This mount plate allows me to put the belt clip on pretty much anywhere on that sheath in this area that I want, okay? And what it really does is, you see how this one comes below, the edge of the sheath here? Some guys don't like that, okay? Without a mount plate, that's just the way it is. And it doesn't hurt anything. It rides just fine. It works just fine. It functions, pretty well. But if you don't like that, then I can build a mount plate, right? That'll allow me to push that clip up a little bit and hide it a little bit more and get it up more toward the hilt so it rides better, okay? I just wanted to throw that out there for guys who really want things to work perfectly well for them. This is a better system than putting it on the sheath this way. However, it is more expensive because I have to build the mount plate, okay? So, I mean, if you don't really care, like I said, this rides just fine, right? But I'm limited as to where I can put the clip. With the mount plate, I can push that clip up further, which pretty much makes it ride a little better, right? It's not so handle heavy that way, okay? So you get a more ergonomic, and the handle droop is not quite as bad, okay? And then he can take this off, right? Put a molly lock clip on it too, if he wants, okay? So there's that Applegate Fairborn dagger, right? There's different companies make this. Gerber makes one, I think. There's a couple other companies. Nice knife. I've always liked this knife. Okay, so now this is the folder version of that knife, all right? This is a nice self-defense folder that, you just stick in your pocket. It's got a pocket clip. There's other ways to mount it as well if you want, but really nice, well-made combat folder, they call it. All right, I like this. I like it. It's a really stylish, covert-looking wearing blade. All right, so that's pretty much it for my favorite knives that, when I want to go out into the bush, on a trip or whatever, I pick, the knives that I want to take for that particular trip. And these are the knives that I pick them from. Usually I'll take 1, 2, maybe 3 knives out with me of different sizes. Okay? Thanks for watching. This is Doug Wilson for Yellow Hawk Customs Outdoors. See you on the next one. See ya!